This is Cheyenne, the fastest sailing boat in the world. Cheyenne is the round-the-world record holder, and the crew are on their way to Doha, Qatar.
We're in Doha, Qatar, and we're watching the final preparations for the 4 boats taking part in the Oryx Quest 2005. The first non-stop round-the-world race to start and finish in the Middle East. We've got behind us Qatar 2006, skippered by Brian Thompson. Of course, this used to be my old boat, Maiden 2. We've got the legend Tony Bullimore on Team Daedalus. So of course we've got the trimaran, Geronimo, skippered by the extremely famous Olivier de Curzon. And we've got Dave Scully currently bringing Cheyenne over from Dubai. It's been really hard work getting the event to this point, but we're nearly there. We've nearly made it.
A day away from Doha, and the Cheyenne team is rushing to get into port with enough time to prepare for the race around the world.
We were about 2 days behind, and now we're about 3 days behind. We've just discovered that the new Jenniker we ordered is a bit long in the luff. The dimensions aren't quite right. So we're going to have to spend some time when we get ashore correcting that.
Skipper Scully is in good company.
We'd have wished to have more time to prepare it. Really, you'd really want 3 or 4 months to prepare a boat of this size, and we've had to shoehorn it into about 5 weeks, which is pretty unheard of. But I think however much time you had, even if it was a year, you'd still want a couple more weeks.
Work on Thompson's boat, Doha 2006, is frantic. While over on Daedalus, it's just fine-tuning, lightening ship. Skipper Tony Bullimore has just returned from a reluctant trip to Britain.
I'm so pleased that I did go back. I had a list of jobs and things that I had to do. When you're putting the boat together, you know, for a race like this, you've really got to be close to it and know what's going on. You know, that's the main thing. So I've had 2 hours sleep in a couple of days, so I'm probably looking a bit shattered.
We're always ready. We sail all the time, so I mean, we were ready for everything since we drive the boat. We put the boat on dry dock in June, and we launched here 15th of September. So we were ready to do either a Jules Verne, either around Australia, or either this race.
In essence, the Oryx Quest is the true Formula One of sailing. This race features the biggest, fastest, most expensive Grand Prix racing boats on any waters in the world. Each boat in the starting lineup is a record breaker in its own right. These boats are capable of more than 40 knots, and on this course, it should prove to be an exciting and rapid lap of the planet. Covering 23,000 miles of racing in around 50 days, this will challenge the best sailors in the world in waters that few of them have ever charted. Lapping the planet is where Tracy Edwards made her reputation. She put together the first all-women round-the-world crew in history, and then put the first all-women crew onto a big multi-hull round-the-world record attempt. But the sailing career now feels like a walk in the park compared to organising an around-the-world race.
This has been the most difficult thing I have ever done in my life. If I thought Maiden or Royal Sun Alliance were difficult, they just pale into insignificance. This is not a normal event by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's in a country that's never seen anything like this before.
video from the Gulf state of Qatar is all sun, sand and exotic wildlife. Tracy Edwards brought them an entirely new proposition.
We came to Qatar 2 years ago, actually looking for sponsorship for Maiden 2, and realised quite quickly that they weren't interested in paying large sums of money for one-off deals. It was suggested to us quite early on that events coming here is what they were looking for. We had very definite criteria and focus when we put the Oryx Quest together. Bringing it to the Middle East was a way of opening the doors to sponsorship in areas that had never been looked into before. Bringing the Formula One of ocean racing to the Middle East and developing links, business, commerce within the sailing fraternity was a very big drive for us.
Cynics wrote Edwards' plans off as impossible, but gradually her ambitious dreams became an enticing reality.
So the prize money for the first prize is $1 million. The prize for second is $300,000. The prize for third is $180,000.
It was a formula that attracted some of the biggest names in round-the-world racing and excited the locals too.
It's a very huge event and something very big for Qatar.
Myself, I would love to be on one of these boats.
The logistics of holding this event have been extraordinary.
So we've got power, we've got light.
There's a week to go before the start and there is still a lot of work to be done. The boats in particular have got a fair bit on. The Qatar boat, the guys I think are now working 24 hours a day to get the boat to the start line. Geronimo, of course, is fully prepared and ready to go. Cheyenne is probably going to be here in the next couple of days as she's had to step her mast in Dubai. She was actually shipped out here because she didn't have time to sail here. Team Daedalus have just done a really thorough refit and actually quite well prepared. The most important next step for us is the opening of the Oryx Quest Village, which is next to the Sheraton where all the teams are staying. And this has been a monumental feat of engineering and getting permission from different people and a massive amount of teamwork. There's an education tent, there's a tent for all of the teams, there's weather experience, and there's lots of things which we hope will encourage people to come and really understand the event. That'll be opened tomorrow evening. And then, of course, the start on the 5th of February, which is turning into a logistical Ben-Hur. So
The first boat to sign into the new race village is Daedalus, and she makes her way across the harbour to her new mooring.
Yeah, it's fantastic, really. All the guys are quite pleased with that. We worked very hard to get from Bristol down to here. You know, it's a long way. It's getting on for 6,500, 7,000 miles. We know there's boats around us now, and I think the other boats are probably coming in tomorrow, you know.
As night falls, the Qatari ruling family come out to officially open the race village.
Well, first I would like to welcome everybody who had decided to join the Oryx Quest, and we just wish everybody a good luck in this race, and we hope it will be a safe race for everybody. Qatar has been waiting for this race for a long time, and indeed I will be on board the dhow that will give the signal of the start. I wish I can be on board the boat that will race, but that could be a different plan. But definitely the people of the state of Qatar is looking forward to it.
Edwards has spent 2 years paving the way for this moment. It's a moment she's proud to announce.
His Excellency Sheikh Jassim bin Tamer Al Thani will cut the ribbon to open the Oryx Quest Village. Thank you. It's just really coming together now, where everyone in Qatar is going, this is great, and we're going, we know! So it just, all the tears and heartache of the last 2 years have just disappeared.
Cheyenne Cheyenne's journey to Qatar saw the boat leave the UK in early January on a sail to Antwerp, get loaded onto a freight ship that travelled through the Med and down the Suez Canal as cargo. The journey took them swiftly through pirate-infested waters with ease, where others found it more unnerving. Cheyenne was dropped off in Dubai for a quick sail down the Strait of Hormuz before finally arriving just in time, 5 days before the start.
Welcome to Qatar. I'm glad to be here. It was quite an adventure getting here.
That adventure had officially started for Scully, but for the boat, it was just another chapter in its glorious life. Originally launched as PlayStation, Cheyenne was the first of the giant multi-hulls. In total, the boat has broken 14 sailing records. David Scully is a new skipper, but he sailed on the boat from the start.
Well, I think you can only ever do the best that you can do. And I've got a lot of confidence in the people I'm working with, and I don't see anything that's going to stop us from making the starting line at this point.
Daedalus, formerly Enzo, won the Jules Verne around the world record with Sir Peter Blake and Sir Robin Knox-Johnston. But now she's skippered by Tony Bullimore, who's made a few changes.
Daedalus, you've got to remember, was designed by one of the great designers, Nigel Lynd, and he designed this boat coming on for 20 years ago. You know, by the time it's been, rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt, it's all modern equipment. There's very little of the old boat left, actually, but there are one or two little bits that we wouldn't part with, and we want to be there just to remind us that it is an old boat.
In its life, the Qatar boat has been known as Club Med, Maiden 2, and it's now Doha 2006.
Has had a lot of attention lavished on it when it was Club Med, when it was new, and also when Maiden, we've had a lot of success with it, breaking the 24-hour record and various records around Britain as well. So, we're confident we've got a good boat, very confident we've got a great crew.
The youngest in the fleet is Geronimo. She's Olivier de Kersauson's giant trimaran and has been born out of the French sailing legend's lifetime of experience of the breed.
I first starting trimaran with Eric Tabarlis in 1967, and by that time nobody has made any big cat in the world. So we have been improving trimaran for years and years. I have so much experience in trimaran that I am able to make evoluted trimaran. Maybe I will not be able to make evoluted cat, and I think it's the same for all the other skippers who are driving cat.
The Oryx Quest will be the first time a trimaran and a catamaran of this size have met head-to-head, and a lot of people are keen to see which is faster when racing under the same conditions.
The debate, trimaran versus catamaran, is a typical press debate. It does not really exist. I mean, as far as you know them well, in some conditions, there is no debate. Some condition a trimaran is better, in some condition a cat is better.
I think Geronimo is a very fast boat. It's really untested against this fleet. It's a trimaran with different configuration completely to the other three boats. It's got probably a better performance in the light airs and when you're going into the wind.
I think a trimaran might be better in lighter, might be better downwind in lighter, might be better downwind in very strong condition and very rough sea. For
this course, I think I'd quite like the trimaran idea. It's less time in the Southern Ocean than traditional race, so I think the trimaran might be the way to go.
Well, it's obvious as you look around the dock that the best prepared boat here is Geronimo, and since I think we all like to win these races before we actually leave the dock, at the moment he's the clear winner.
The closest these different boats have come to sailing against each other was when Geronimo followed Cheyenne on an around-the-world record attempt last year. But the several weeks difference in departure date meant they sailed the world under different conditions. Cheyenne's crew found favourable and strong winds for most of the way and utilised the boat's power to smash the previous round-the-world record by 6 days. Cheyenne's owner and skipper, Steve Fawcett, had achieved his ultimate sailing prize and set off to concentrate on other record attempts.
Steve is on standby right now to attempt the single-handed circumnavigation of the world non-stop in an aeroplane. And he's in Kansas City at the moment, waiting for the right weather picture. I believe that he has a projected start date now of the 7th of February. So as we are going through the Straits of Hormuz, he's going to be firing up his little jet and setting off around the world to attempt this record.
While Steve Fawcett is famous for his triumphs, Tony Bullymore is remembered for what was possibly one of the worst moments of his life.
I've only ever, probably in 2 races, not made it to the finish. Once was the Route de Rhum in 1986, I believe, and of course there's you know, the famous adventure in the Southern Ocean when the keelboard and keel snapped off of my boat in a massive storm. Couldn't make it to the finish on that occasion. At the time it was horrendous, 5 days in you know, freezing waters, you know, with my finger hanging off and toes and things like that is not very nice, but there's a set of logistics to it. You know, at one end you're going to survive and at the other end you're not going to make it, you bought it, and you know, you're somewhere in between there just trying to hang in, and that's my nature. It's been my nature all my life, you know, from a long, long time ago.
The Oryx quest round the world race differs massively from the usual route, with about a third of the 23,000 miles set in the Indian Ocean.
The first week of the race is probably the most difficult tactically and from the weather. Getting out of the Straits of Hormuz is very difficult. There are the oil rigs, there's a lot of shipping, there's strong currents. No sooner than they get clear of the Straits of Hormuz, they have to deal with the doldrums. The first boat through the doldrums gets into the new wind south of the equator first, and tactically that's very important. The second week they should still be sailing in good conditions. They'll be sailing in the trade winds around the high pressure system in the Indian Ocean. By the end of week 2 they should be starting to taste the fringes of the Southern Ocean. They'll be seeing the different cloud cover coming up from the south. They'll be feeling the temperature drop at night. They'll be feeling the density of the wind increase. They'll be feeling it getting a lot colder. Week 3, into the Southern Ocean. It's dominated by a series of low-pressure systems that circumnavigate Antarctica. They sail a fine line between sailing a shorter distance close to Antarctica and a longer distance where there's perhaps less wind further north. Week 4 should see them in the vicinity of New Zealand. Keep going under New Zealand, Southern Ocean, just the same as week 3. Week 5 about the same, heading towards Cape Horn in the deep south of the Pacific, trying to sail close to Antarctica, trying to minimize the distance, shorten the distance, but not get too far south where they can get a lot of ice building up on the deck, headwinds, gale force winds from the front. No one likes that at all. By the end of week 6, heading for the Cape of Good Hope. Week 7 should see the boat sailing up the African coast towards Madagascar, into headwinds, across the doldrums, into the new wind north of the doldrums, into the Straits of Hormuz, which is really difficult tactically, around the hairpin bend of the Straits, and on a straight line for the finish in Doha.
It's a new course for all of us, and we all get fairly comfortable with a traditional round-the-world course.
The fascination that I've got in this race is that it's a very unusual course.
The Indian Ocean, the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea are all really new territory.
To track the boats and their crews through the adventure, the latest satellite and camera technology has been shipped aboard, giving the outside world instant access of action from the high seas.
We're here with the Oryx Quest, and we have 6 cameras on board these boats. We have 2 DV recorders and 2 satellite phones. So we can send back footage from the ends of the Earth, and we're going to go on a tour of the cameras right now.
Every boat has a camera on the bow, specially reinforced and submersible to bear the brunt of all the waves in the Southern Ocean.
All the boats have 2 stern cameras, one on the port side and one on the starboard side. They both have night vision, which means we'll be able to see waves breaking over the boats, even during the hours of darkness.
This is the galley camera, and it's where we'll see the crew preparing food on the stove here. It's not very big, but it's where the crew will spend most of their off-watch time. And finally, we've got 2 cameras down below. The camera there in the cuddy for the off-watch crew, and then one in the navigation area. These 6 cameras are going to bring you the most extraordinary pictures ever seen in ocean racing.
Sailors with giant multi-hull and round-the-world sailing experience are in short supply. Unsurprisingly, many from Cheyenne's around-the-world record-breaking trip are already here.
The group we had going around the world last year, it was great that we did well, but the real success of that trip was the way the crew worked together, and the fact that we started as friends and finished as friends, and probably even better friends. And one of the nice things about coming here and doing this race is being reunited with the people we did around the world with last year.
One key man on board then is now Doha 2006 skipper Brian Thompson, who managed to pull together a strong team from Cheyenne before Scully even knew he was coming.
Basically, Brian's program was up and running months before ours was even considered, and obviously he's going to go for the best people he can get. So no, he didn't steal anyone, but he did have an opportunity to talk to them first.
Thompson's crew is a team for whom he has utmost respect.
With this level of team, you know, they're really going to bring a lot of good input to decision making. It's really going to be a team effort. I don't want to be a dictator. I think you know, this level of talent, you've got to use it and let everyone get involved and look at the big picture, and then just make the final decision.
Culturally, in my team, we are working, some of us, since 20 years. We don't talk. We are not. We don't spend time in briefing. We go at sea. We are. I think we are from far the team which spends more time together at sea in the world.
2 days to go, and 2 boats are still racing.
Where are you off to, mate?
We have finally received our battens that have come from New Zealand. You know, we're going to be busy tonight to put these battens together into the mainsail and hopefully sailing tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, and the race starts on Saturday. So we've got plenty to do still, but it's good news they're here. Oh, fantastic. All good.
Two teams are working through the night to prepare. 2 others are relaxed and ready. But the pulse is starting to quicken in every one of the sailors about to set off and sail around the world. It's been done many times before, but it's still a momentous undertaking. And the Oryx quest is set to write another chapter in the history of great sailing adventures.